Namaste, Salam, Sasrikal, Vanakkam, and welcome to Happy Humans with Umesh. So, friends, today's topic is moratorium. So, why moratorium? So, I think almost the entire nation is under moratorium now, and in the recent past, right, since the moratorium got over, since August 31st, so many customers complained that they have been the banks have been treating them in a very bad way for recovery of the dues. And I've seen a couple of news as well in that, in terms of how the banks are approaching these customers, right? So that being said, every borrower who opted for moratorium, even if they have not opted for moratorium, they should know these points. They should know all these 8 important points which we're going to list out today, right? So to begin with, the first and foremost thing every borrower who opted for moratorium should know is the Supreme Court has granted an extension till September 28th. So there is no need to, I wouldn't say no need, but if we have not paid for this month, the month of September, we don't need to worry about our CIBIL score getting hurt or anything. We don't need to worry about it because the Supreme Court has given that they said that it will be extended till September 28th. So in between, right, in between, the banks cannot declare our account as a non-performing asset, right? So, and yeah, even if we are not paying this month's EMI. So, but then why they are calling, right? So they are trying to, being a bank, I mean, they have been without right, the repayment of dues for last 6 months. So they will try to recover as much as possible, because it's not the only case that people who lost their jobs have taken moratorium. Even people who are working and earning, they have also taken advantage of the moratorium. So that is the reason why even the banks are trying to attempt for recovery. There is nothing wrong about it, but when there is a genuine reason, I mean, these people are not allowed to harass any customer, any borrower during this period for repayment of their dues. So this is a very key point that we need to keep in mind. So the third point is the central government has given 2 weeks time, right? 2 weeks time for RBI. The Supreme Court has given 2 weeks time for RBI and central government to come up with a concrete solution for this particular issue. It's not just one issue, the moratorium. Even there is another case which was appealed with for charging the interest on the interest during the moratorium period. Right, you all know that whoever has opted for moratorium, you know that, I mean, there is an additional interest for those period of moratorium, right? So that also they have inquired, and they said that central government and RBI should come up with a concrete solution, right? And point number 4, so central government has given a response on that also, mentioned that they have set up a expert panel to look into this issue, I mean the interest charges issue, and also the deferred installments, right? The deferred installments in terms of whether they will be going for an moratorium extension or not. They have just mentioned, they have responded that we have a panel in place and the work is under process, right? And point number 5, so here every borrower should know the RBI regulations in terms of the collection recovery, right? When case, right, in terms of non-payment, so they should inform the borrower to begin with. They should inform the borrower that where they are sending, right, our details. So it's like, I mean, so now they are sending it to, so we have not paid for a month, so they are sending our account details to a certain collection agency. So before sending it to the collection agency, they should inform the borrower that we are, see, you have right, there's been no payment, so we are sharing your details with the collection agency, and there will be a call from this particular agency. The agency name is this, who works in behalf our bank. This information needs to be given to every borrower by the bank, and I've never heard any bank disclosing this information to the customer, right? And I personally, I also opted for moratorium, and I've never received this message from the bank mentioning that, I mean, they're going to send my details to a certain collection agency. So this is it's a guideline from RBI, so we need to know about it, right? And point number 6, if there is any service request or complaint from the customer, right? As a customer, if I have raised a service request or a complaint, then bank should not forward my details or forward my case to the recovery agency. It's a guideline, because until the issue or the service request is resolved, they are obligated to, right, respond to us. They shouldn't share our details within a recovery agency for us to contact, right? So that being said, the seventh point is, so because of these harassments, I've seen so many people are right, they can write to the customer service. I mean, I don't think they are getting a good response from the banks, right? I mean, in certain cases, yes, the banks have responded in a good way, but still, if there is a complaint, right, complaint against any bank or its recovery agents, so in those cases, they should strictly, right, uh, for these complaints, they should follow the guidelines. So if there is a complaint, we need to immediately send it to them, to the bank customer service. So within, if you are not getting any response within 1 or 2 days, right, there comes the next point, the point number 8, where we can send a complaint, or we can launch a complaint in RBI's portal, right? I'm mentioning the bank, what exactly the issue in terms of recovery, whether they have over phone they have behaved bad, I mean, they harassed you. Believe me, even have, I mean, just pushing you over within a harsh word is an harassment, right? So that can be launched as a complaint in RBI's portal if there is no response within 1 or 2 days from the banks. And most of the time, what they do is, to be in the safer side, they'll say that, I mean, they'll get back to you within 5 days. But still, if there is no response from them in those 5 days, we can go ahead and we can launch a complaint in RBI. I'll tell you, if, because all these calls and emails are getting recorded, so you'll have an email proof and they will have the call proof, which RBI will cross verify. And if they get to know that this particular, right, they have violated or practiced any abusive practice, right, followed there in terms of recovery, RBI can ban that particular recovery agency from that area for that particular bank. And if there is no response, they can extend the ban, or even they can impose a penalty on the bank, which is a huge penalty. We, as borrowers, we don't know that, I mean, but there will be a very huge penalty for treating the borrowers in such a way. I'll add the link for RBI's complaint portal, right? You can go ahead and check it out, and if there is any complaint, and if there is no if there is any unanswered complaints from bank, please go ahead and you can file your complaint there, right? So banks are obliged to follow all these guidelines. So without that, I mean, harassing, I mean, I know that because personally, even I have got calls, and I mean, people have been in a right, I mean, their tone has been not in the right way. In spite of being a good customer for last few years, still, right, just a 1 month payment, deferment of 1 month payment, banks are treating the customers in a very bad way. This is not the right approach, right? So guideline, I mean, RBI's guideline has a huge set of rules for this. So we as borrower, we need to be aware of these rules so that we can question them next time when they are approaching us, especially during this month. Till September 28th, no one is allowed to call you, or unless it's just for an informatory call, right? They are not allowed to ask you for a payment, or they cannot push you for, to pay your dues, right? So being a borrower, let's be aware of all these rules, guys, and let's take advantage of the rules which are in place. So if there is any complaints, please go ahead and write it to a bank, and if there is no response, please go ahead and complain it to RBI. Believe me, only then we'll be able to convey what exactly the borrowers are suffering, how the borrowers are suffering, right, and what sort of sufferings they are going through to the RBI, right? So that's all for today, guys, and so hope you got some information in terms of moratorium, and we will get an update on moratorium extension, whether it will be extended or not, or whether there any possibility of restructuring by September 28th. And before 1 week before, there will be appeal from central government and RBI to the court, that they will review, and the judgment will be on September 28th. So I'll meet you guys with another new video. Take care. Bye. Stay safe.